Alright, here we go, we're live. How's everyone doing? Let's get a quick audio and visual check as usual. Thank you all for tuning in today. We've had a beautiful, beautiful day in the market. The market is shining. The sun is shining on the crypto community today. So that is absolutely great. I am a little bit worried of tech issues today, so please keep messaging, keep dropping it in the comments here if we are still having good connection issues throughout the stream. Let's get straight into it. I don't even want to waste any time. Bitcoin, let's break it down from the beginning. Bitcoin ended up, everything's good. Everyone's saying it's good. Just waiting for that before I do get straight into it. So Bitcoin ended up, thank you, great, thank you, perfect. Okay, so Bitcoin was in a symmetrical triangle. I was talking to you about how I was expecting Bitcoin to break down. It was also facing resistance from the 1 hour Ichimoku cloud. All of these things ended up resulting in a dump down, and Bitcoin since then has pumped right through the ceiling. Please stop talking about my glasses. I can't fix it. I'm a little kid. It's not like I get confused by this stuff. Anyway, I'm good at analysis. Let me do the analysis. Ignore the glasses. Bitcoin ended up seeing that dump down and then pumping through resistance. So now we start asking the question, is Bitcoin going to start setting new all-time highs? There's still resistance overhead, so will Bitcoin break that resistance, or are we going to dump back down? And what I want to cover with you in this live stream, ladies and gents, is the fact that I don't want this to fool you guys. You know, what we had here was great, don't get me wrong, but we had it inside of a very bad trend, right? And so, you know, what I see this as, ladies and gents, is I see this as, you know, Bitcoin is in a war right now. The overall direction of the war is that Bitcoin is losing, but lately Bitcoin has won a small battle. That's how I see this. That's the predominant idea I'm going to be covering in this live stream. I certainly think that it's possible Bitcoin's going to set new all-time highs, and I certainly think that we may have finished the downtrend right here. I think it's possible, but this is not the time to get overexcited, and I'm going to be breaking down why. But before I get into all of that, thank you all for tuning in. We have 600 people waiting for this live stream. I love you all. This channel's just hit 80,000 subscribers. You guys are absolutely amazing. Let's hit up the likes on this live stream if you are enjoying the content on this YouTube channel, and if you already know you're going to love this live stream, because what I was talking about in the previous video happened exactly as predicted. I mentioned that I was expecting Bitcoin to get that rejection off the cloud. I said that it was in a rising wedge. We're probably going to break down. We got that breakdown. Now, where it didn't happen as I predicted was that Bitcoin did not dump as low as I expected. I first expected 45,000, and then a little bit lower I actually expected 42,000, but Bitcoin stopped way before that. You know, I was expecting a drop, you know, from the resistance point here, essentially down, you know, to drop us by about 15%. We only dropped by about 6%, so we did about, I don't know, 35% of the move I wanted. Not as much as I thought, but that's fine, because what Bitcoin did from here was absolutely great in my opinion. What Bitcoin did from here was it formed a double bottom right here. It bottomed out at pretty much the same place that it bottomed out at before, and clearly the market was very, very happy with that, because that's what triggered a really big rise up. And actually, if you take a look at the shorts, the amount of people going short on the market, that a lot of them were actually liquidated on this run up, which was absolutely great. You know, the market is getting washed out a little bit, so I'm going to be looking at the funding rates with you a little bit later on in this live stream as well to break this down. What we had right here, ladies and gents, is Bitcoin was in a situation where it was a little bit unsafe in my opinion. It was a little bit you know, unsure of where Bitcoin could go, potentially dropping much lower, but we've now broken a lot of the very, very short-term resistance areas. This is extremely important. There was the resistance area between 50,000 and 52,000. That's been broken. There was the Ichimoku cloud. That's been broken. There was the downward trending resistance line that looked like this. That's been broken. Bitcoin has broken a lot of the very, very short-term resistance lines on this chart, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. I'm very, very happy to see that Bitcoin's done that. And as far as this goes, you know, winning a battle in a big war is still a big deal. You know, it still shows that there might be some progress. And at the very least, ladies and gents, this is what's absolutely crucial in my opinion. At the very least, what we're seeing here is that if this downtrend continues, we're seeing that it's not you know, running along with the analogy of a war, because it's so accurate here right now in my opinion, you know, it's not like Bitcoin is not putting up a fight. So even if we do end up dipping lower, I'm going to feel way more confident that Bitcoin is going to be able to recover. It's not like I wouldn't feel confident anyway. I was always sure that Bitcoin would continue to set new all-time highs. My bearish analysis was always just short-term. I was very clear about that. In every video, I always said that I think we're still targeting all-time highs, but this gives me even more faith, because this shows me that we are forming meaningful reaction rallies. Granted, this is happening what I call a fuck you candle, which is to say it comes completely out of nowhere. There's zero reason to expect it, in my opinion, but it happens. And this is why, if you're in a bad trade, I was actually in a trade where I suffered a small loss, you're actually exercising risk management to make sure that you don't screw that up. And that's absolutely crucial, in my opinion. I've had a couple small losses here, a couple small wins in this range. Overall, sitting close to neutral, slightly in a loss since the trades that I've made since here. But with that risk management, I've barely lost anything. And that is so important in this market. Very, very important to be keeping in mind right here. You can have rough trading ranges, but you're not going to be in the shitter. You know, a lot of people on this move alone have ended up losing, you know, minus 50%, minus 40% of their Bitcoin, something stupid like that. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, losing more than minus 10% in this case even would have been too much to be losing on a rally like this. I mean, this was just not something where you should be losing too much money. And the only way you can insulate yourself from that is not trading too much. As you all know, this is a YouTube channel that's about analysis and trading. You know, the analysis obviously is for first and foremost on the YouTube channel. Trading side is usually exclusive to VIP, but I think that's extremely important to keep in mind. You know, you can make bad trades, but as long as you don't put too much money into them, you're barely going to lose anything, and it all contributes towards the one that it hits a really, really big home run. Obviously, we've hit many of those over this trend. It's been absolutely amazing. And so what I'm seeing right here is that we did end up breaking some of these short-term resistance areas. We're now facing more resistance. If we take a look at this on the 4-hour time frame, our Ichimoku cloud is very, very close to Bitcoin right now. What we're going to get here, in my opinion, over the next little bit is literally just in 2 days. We're talking about 40 hours from now, probably. We're going to start seeing resistance from this Ichimoku cloud. And that is somewhat concerning. That, to me, is a sign that, you know, what we've done here on the short-term time frame is we broke the short-term resistance, right? I call 1 hour short-term, I call 4 hour mid-term. It's arbitrary, no one defines them. I define it like that. And so there's no strict definition for it. So I define it like 4 hours, relatively kind of mid-term for this very, very explosive market. And so if you are looking at something like this, I think it's very, very important to keep in mind that we have broken the short-term signs, but we haven't broken the mid-term signs of resistance right here. There's still a lot of resistance from this Ichimoku cloud. The good news is that we have broken EMA resistance right here. Take a look at that. We've broken EMA resistance on the 4 hour, only just, but we have had a close above it, which is absolutely great in my opinion. On the 1 day time frame, we are about to start encountering a lot of resistance from this EMA ribbon, which in my opinion is pretty dangerous. Bitcoin since October did not fail this EMA ribbon as support, and typically when it works so well as support, it'll actually work very, very well as resistance as well. I want to show you how this worked so well in 2017. You can see that only with a few exceptions, Bitcoin found support off this EMA ribbon. Every time the price of Bitcoin fell into this ribbon, we got nice bounces right up until the end. But ladies and gents, right after that, it did flip into resistance with a lot of different situations where you can see that when Bitcoin peaked up to this level or slightly just above it, Bitcoin did end up seeing big pullbacks down. You can see a lot of that. Look, there's big rejections that happened when this indicator flipped from being bullish to bearish. I mean, this doesn't really count because there was no spread, but still very much showing us that we might be encountering some resistance right now. And that's where my warnings come from in this live stream, ladies and gents. It is that we have absolutely seen a great recovery here. We did the best thing Bitcoin could have done, right? We formed a double bottom. It then pumped up massively. This is great. We barely said anything to resistance. It's not like this held Bitcoin back at all, which was absolutely great. However, we still have resistance up ahead, and we are still in a downtrend. And so if there's any time where the market would start continuing to trend down, if this downtrend is not complete, it would be right now. It absolutely would be right now. What we could be looking at is that the downtrend is moving down and it's correcting upwards. This is very standard in any market that's forming any sort of trend. Let me break this down for you on a different chart so I can make this super obvious to you guys. Let's remove all of these lines because we don't need them anymore. And in an uptrend, ladies and gents, it's very easy for us to expect that Bitcoin is going to trade upwards, and occasionally it's going to have corrections. Now, either these corrections show as time-based corrections, so we trade sideways, or it's going to show as price-based corrections, so we trade down. Sometimes we have both. So here's an example of a time-based correction. Bam, right here. I can actually show this a little bit easier perhaps on the 8-hour time frame. Let's see how that looks. This will be a little bit easier to show you. Yeah, right there. We had a time-based correction right here where Bitcoin ended up trading nicely upwards from about 13,000. It broke up to about 16,000. I actually traded this move with VIPs. You guys will remember that if you've been watching this channel since then. I closed something huge. I think it was like a 300% profit. I can't even remember, but that was very, very nice. A huge gain that I made right there. And the actual market consolidation here, it was in the form of the correction here. It was in the form of consolidation. It was in the form of just trading sideways, and so the price did not necessarily cut down deep. It did cut down a little bit, but I mean, no one really cared about this dip. This was minus 9% after we just rallied by more than 15%, which is absolutely phenomenal. And so for the most part, the market just traded sideways, and that's how we corrected, right? Other times we get price-based corrections. Look, the market trends very, very high from here, from 16 all the way up to 20, and now we cut deep. I mean, this wasn't super deep, but this was minus 19% off memory. What was this? I'm sorry, minus 16, 17%, and so that's a relatively, it's more than double what we saw over here. So this was a price-based correction, because as soon as we get this correction, Bitcoin goes on to set a new all-time high. This was technically an all-time high. Then we correct with time and with price, and then we get the breakout. That is what's absolutely essential in my opinion. And so we're very, very familiar. The reason I was explaining this to you, ladies and gents, is that we're very, very familiar with the idea of Bitcoin forming corrections in an uptrend. In an uptrend, it's very easy for us to accept that we're not going to go up in a straight line. We are going to go up a little bit, pull back, we're going to go up a little bit, trade sideways, then continue going up, and so on. It's very easy for us to accept that in a bull market. Unfortunately, when we're forming these mini bear markets, it's not so easy for the market to accept that, because people are deluded, they're overinvested, they're emotional about their investments and so on. That can lead a lot of people to really throwing principles out of the window, because if it applies in the bullish direction, it must apply in the bearish direction. And so if we take it back to the chart here, and that's a very, very important point that I don't think a lot of people consider, especially when they're beginners in this kind of market. But if we do take it right back to what we have over here, in my opinion, Bitcoin has been in somewhat of a short-term downtrend since 65,000. That's undeniable. I don't see how anyone can argue that, because Bitcoin from its high to low has corrected by minus 27%, which granted is a pretty good correction. That's pretty healthy. But we were in a short-term downtrend, and we know that. I proved this to you many times. I was correct about it every time, actually. It just didn't cut as deep as I thought on each occasion, but it still cut down. And the examples of that are here. For example, we formed a continuation pattern. Again, we formed a continuation pattern. And so there's a few key signs of being in a downtrend. Number one is that you keep setting lower highs. This is absolutely undeniable. I'd like to see someone challenge me on this one, but we are still setting lower highs. And the same goes for the lows that the market is setting. The lows are still technically getting lower. So this is one of the key signs of being in a downtrend. After that, number two, the other key sign is that we're breaking down and we're forming continuation patterns. Look, continuation pattern here, down, continuation pattern, down, continuation pattern, down, big continuation pattern, down, big one, down. So that's another key sign that we're in a bear market. Essentially, it's that the price is trending in its direction of its trend, and then it corrects, right? It corrects by trading upwards in some cases, by forming a bull flag that looks a little bit like, a bear flag that looks a little bit like this, which is exactly what we had here, exactly what we had here. I was talking about these all the time on this channel. So if you were subscribed, you would have seen all of that analysis. It was 100% spot on. So if you did enjoy that, please do smash up that likes. Thank you all we're up to 1,800 viewers. Absolutely amazing. If you are enjoying this live stream, go ahead and do that. And also subscribe if you are new around here as well. I would really, really appreciate that. And so it's worth pointing out, in my opinion, right here in this market, that we are looking at another potential correction. And what will make me feel more confident about this is if we start to breach some of these larger areas of resistance. We still haven't encountered that, as I said, our so-called midterm resistance with the Ichimoku cloud. There's still actually a lot of tension around this area. I can show this to you quite easily with the VPVR. This is an indicator that I don't typically use all the time, but it's still extremely useful in my opinion. And the VPVR right here has a bunch of spikes. And I need to give you guys a refresher on what this indicator is, but I'm not going to go super in depth on this. So if you are new to this channel and you've never seen me cover this indicator, please search this on YouTube right now. Open a new tab in YouTube, put this exact these two exact words in the YouTube search bar. I'm going to show you how to get this indicator, how to use it, my best practices, and so on. It's an extremely, extremely useful indicator because it just takes a lot of work out of your hands. You don't need this indicator, you don't need any indicator, but they help take work out of your hands. And so the VPVR here is absolutely great. And just to give you a quick rundown, this essentially demonstrates where a lot of volume has been exchanged for Bitcoin. So basically, anytime there's a big spike, it means that there's been a lot of buying and selling In other words, a lot of consolidation. And typically, we will find support at the peaks. If we're above the peaks, we'll find support. If we're below them, we'll find resistance. And there is a point of control here. A point of control is essentially where we have the biggest peak on the chart. That's called a point of control. That's the area that you would expect the market to gravitate towards. And that level lies at $56,000. So I could just drop a line, although it would actually be more sensible if I drew a box here. So let me draw a box for you guys real quick. I think the box would look something a little bit like this. And the reason I like boxes is they just encompass more possibilities. I just think it's a more realistic way to look at the market. And this box stretches from 54,700 to 57,000. So from, yeah, let's call it 54.5 to 57. That's kind of where this general area of resistance lies. And you know, the VPVR is showing me that the next thing I'm going to do as part of my healthy clinical technical analysis is I'm also going to check it just to make sure it's legit. And one of the ways to check it is to see if we've had crucial consolidation around this level. We did pretty much top right at this level, so that's pretty cool. We also consolidated at this level. Look, there was a bull flag that we formed right here, and then we traded upwards, so that shows me that this level has some interest. We also fell right down to this level and then got a pretty decent bounce. Let me actually measure this bounce. This was pretty good. Yeah, it's an 11% bounce. That's fairly sizable. And so this did trigger a pretty good market reversal. We found support here again and again and again, and then we found resistance here. So not only does it act as support, it also acts as resistance, and it sends the market down again for a fairly significant drop. And so this is all, and again, another 11% drop. So this is again really showing us, look, more support, 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 resistance. Bam, what are we going to expect right here? That's what it comes down to, because if this level has acted as support and resistance, and it's a point of control on the VPVR chart, that to me is what really makes it a crucial level. So until and unless Bitcoin breaks this, I'm not going to be completely satisfied with this trend. I've said this in an earlier video, which unfortunately I couldn't upload because I had some technical issues. I said this in an earlier video where the level to beat, in my opinion, is 58,000, which is just a little bit higher. But then we do still have resistance all up ahead. And the key question there is, well, if we've broken strong areas of resistance, which in my opinion 54 to 57 is the strong area. If we've broken strong areas of resistance, then we shouldn't have such a big problem breaking what I would call weak areas of resistance. And where do I see the weak areas? Well, it's these smaller spikes on the VPVR. So one over here would be, for example, 59,000. Another one might be right here at 60,000. These are, you know, what I would consider to be relatively weak areas of resistance. You know, another one right here at 63,000. These are areas that still have spikes on the VPVR. You can only just make them out. You can, in fact, let me make them a little bit clearer. Now you can really see that, you know, the VPVR does spike here a little bit, which represents, you know, a lot of trading action. And again, you can just eyeball this as well. You don't need the VPVR to tell you this. It's just a very easy way to visualize it. But on the Coinbase chart, I've got those boxes already drawn out for you guys, and this is where I imagine the weaker areas of resistance to be, and really the big ones, the big area of resistance is pretty much right here where Bitcoin is contending right now. And so this thing, and this is, you know, a lot of people are going to get upset here, and I'm always the first one to say, if you are going to be upset, please be as upset as possible, have your feelings hurt, you know, rub more salt on the wound. I really don't care. This is a channel for very realistic analysis. You know, I am a real trader, I'm a leverage trader, and that means not being honest with myself will cost me a lot of money. It'll really screw me over. I've been there, and I know exactly what it's like to not want to hear things that disagree with you. I'm very familiar with how that feels, and I'm done with that. I've started being done with that when I started making money in these markets, and that's absolutely essential. So someone in the comments here is saying that I don't think FORFLIES believes we're in a macro bear market. He's just cautious to say that the bull market has definitely resumed right now, and that's exactly bang on what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we're going to trend down to 20k to 3k or whatever. What I am saying is that this downtrend might not be over yet. You know, and the reason that this is so important to me is because I fully expect that Bitcoin is going to continue rising up above 60k, above 80k, even to 100. I was even telling you guys that that's still my long-term prediction. And so my goal as a leverage trader here is to trade Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin, and then ride Bitcoin up. You know, when it's rising. You know, so if I own 2 Bitcoins up here, I want to be able to own 3 Bitcoins down here, so that when Bitcoin goes to 100,000, instead of having $200,000, I would have $300,000. That's the point. That's why I trade. That's why most people in this market trade Bitcoin, actually. It's purely to accumulate more Bitcoin, because whatever you have is never enough, in my opinion. And that's why I work so hard to do that. So this is why I'm urging caution in the market. Nobody wants to consider this right now. People are feeling very euphoric because, to be honest, that's kind of what Bitcoin does. It's plus 15%. And this is something I was warning you guys about a lot in this market, where it's very easy for euphoria to creep back into the market at a time like this, which is good because it means, you know, then there's fear of missing out and then we start rallying to new all-time highs, and that's absolutely great. But, you know, we need to be aware of that because that's what the masses are thinking, and we don't want to be caught in those traps. You know, clearly Bitcoin did not have a lot of strength in this rally. I certainly thought it does, but it clearly didn't. I certainly thought it did, sorry, but it clearly didn't, because we did end up sitting in this downtrend after. And this is the crucial thing that, you know, if you have been watching this channel for anything over a couple of weeks, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, where I said a lot that, in my opinion, Bitcoin should not have been correcting as much as it did, right? This one was enough. Then we corrected again, and then we corrected again. And so actually, one of the key things that the lead analyst we have inside of FORFLIES VIP has pointed out to me, and this is absolutely essential. You know, no one wants to talk about this. This is where, you know, you really need to be quite sensible, I think, in the market to be able to accept these realities. This is where I can't find, he posted a really good chart for me, but I can't find it. You know, this is where, you know, Bitcoin, I think, should have had the opportunity to rise up significantly higher, but it didn't. Not once, but twice. It didn't actually set amazing new all-time highs. And that's definitely what we would have expected, with, you know, with good reason. It was a sensible thing to expect that. And so if Bitcoin is given these opportunities to set beautiful all-time highs, but it's not, it's just peaking slightly higher, this is a sign of the trend losing momentum. You know, this is absolutely essential. If we still had the momentum in this market, then, you know, the rally, for example, here, this shows us that we're losing a little bit of momentum, so we trade downwards. When the momentum is in the market, we peak above this high and we just fly straight through it. We set a high over here, and this is absolutely essential. We set a high over here and we're just flying straight through it. That's what having momentum in the market looks like, right? And so if we are actually, you know, setting the all-time high and then peaking slightly higher and correcting down massively, like we did over here, right? We set an all-time high, went above it, but then correcting massively. This is showing you that actually we're able to push, but not very far. And then the market has to correct. And this is a sign of the market losing steam. So what I'm showing you here is that on a, you know, relatively short-term time frame, we're still in a downtrend. We haven't broken key levels. And, well, we've broken some key levels around here, $50,000. That was a key level for sure. But we haven't broken all of them. And the market on a more macro scale has shown us that it does need to correct downwards. Because what happened to all of the ideas that pretty much everyone was in broad agreement over, where Bitcoin should come down to that 21-week moving average? Did we all forget about that? Because I certainly didn't. It's kind of my job not to forget these things. And I certainly didn't forget this, right? And so, you know, when we're trading downwards, and this is the big point that I really need to hit home for you guys in this video, in this live stream, ladies and gents, and I gotta blow up my camera again. You know, we are all very much accepting that inside of a healthy uptrend, we're not going to go up in a straight line. We are going to correct and then continue going up, and correct and continue going up. We're very, very accepting that, you know, on this channel, you know, other people will just want it to go up in a straight line and whatever. That's not relevant to us. But broadly speaking, we understand how that works, right? We know that the market needs to correct in an uptrend, and it's exactly the same in a downtrend, right? These things are just flipped. It's a mirror. And so it makes complete sense that when we've trended down pretty badly, right? Pretty badly. Let me show you how bad it actually was. It's not like this was a small little downtrend. You know, like in this market, it was a pretty nasty one in my opinion. You know, when we trended down like this without, you know, a whole lot of relief, you know, without any sustained recovery, it makes sense that we're eventually going to get one. So that's where my caution comes from. I would love to get excited here, but the fact is, not a lot has changed. We've only reversed the short-term time frames that we're showing we're bearish. We're still bearish on a slightly longer time frame. That is absolutely essential to point out. We still have not set a higher high. We still have not set a higher low. We still have not broken the key area of resistance on this chart, and that means there's still some work to do. This is what I told you guys when we were down here, and this is what I'm telling you when we were up here. That analysis has not changed, and that is absolutely crucial. I'm going to head over to Ethereum in just a minute, but I am ready to start taking your questions. So if you do have questions on this market right now for this live stream, please start dropping them in the comments, and make sure that you tag me by writing my name, just like I've done in the live chat right now, to make sure that I do read your comments. Thank you all for tuning in. We've got 1,900 viewers here. Absolutely amazing. So please do smash up the likes on this live stream if you are enjoying it so far. If you are enjoying this realistic approach where while everyone is feeling completely euphoric, we in this live stream are all still grounded in understanding that things can still turn sour. You know, things can look absolutely amazing, and that's exactly when you get the crashes. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I am saying that if there's any time that we were going to start seeing another big crash, it would be right now. It would absolutely be right now, because we are at that resistance. We are in a downtrend. We have moved upwards. Corrections don't last a long time. You know, we've had the correction now. We're in a downtrend. We've corrected. Done. You know, if we are still in a downtrend, so that's a question for you to answer, to ask yourself. Do you think we're actually in a downtrend? Because there's some good data to suggest that we might not be in a downtrend. You know, we set a double bottom right here. We formed a bullish divergence. You know, there are signs that we should be able to carry on upwards, because a double bottom is pretty good. I mean, you know, I got pretty bullish when we set this double bottom, but I told you that if we fell back down to this level again anytime soon, I would be expecting that we plummet below, and we did. You know, so hopefully we don't come back down near this double bottom anytime soon, but I think that's very, very important to keep in mind. This is extremely grounded analysis. This is what you want to come for if you're very realistic with the market. And if you do care about that kind of thing, then please do hit up the subscribe button if you are new to this YouTube channel. Once again, I got to thank you all. We just hit 80,000 subscribers. It is absolutely amazing. I'm curious as to where we are right now. I know that it's probably doing quite well right now. So I have to thank you all for supporting the channel and getting us towards 100,000 subscribers. It's been a dream of mine since I was a child, so that's very, very special to me, and it's extremely cool. So I'm gonna head over to Ethereum. I actually do want to start touching on some of your questions. How do I get the EMA indicator? Type this into YouTube in a new tab. That's going to show you my EMA tutorial, where I think it's towards the beginning of the tutorial. I actually show you how you can put that indicator on your chart as well. Very, very important. So let's see what else we have with Ethereum. Ethereum's been performing really well. Not as good as Bitcoin, but overall I think it has been performing very, very well. A little bit of a messy chart. It's definitely not as easy to read as Bitcoin's chart is, but crucially, you know, what this is, in my opinion, is it's still showing us that there's a lot of optimism. You know, crucial levels are holding. I didn't even expect that this level would hold. I honestly thought that we would dip below 2,000, but actually we bounced off exactly 2,000, which was very, very impressive. And Ethereum is starting to see a little bit of resistance at its previous all-time high level right here. I certainly think that if Ethereum can clear this right now, it's going to start rallying very, very nicely again. Ethereum has corrected with time. Let's take a look at this with the ruler tool. From the day that it set this all-time high to today, it's been 11 days. That's good enough in my opinion. It's corrected with time, where we haven't set any all-time high, and with price. We've trended down by 21%. So not as much as Bitcoin, but it certainly has had its fair share of corrections, and that's after, you know, not even setting an amazingly impressive all-time high. You know, I still think that Ethereum has a lot of gas left in it. I told you that I was expecting 2,500. That was a pretty easy prediction. I also told you that I'm expecting 3,000, and I definitely don't think it's going to be challenging for Ethereum to reach 3,000. It almost just looks like a stone's throw away from here, and that is very, very beautiful to be seeing. So Ethereum, they're looking very, very good. There's a little bit that I want to touch on with bcash, Bitcoin Cash as well. I think that there's some good formations there. I'll start taking a look at some of the other altcoins that we have on the side here. But if you do have any technical questions, any trading related questions, any personal experiences that you'd like my thoughts on and so on, then please drop them in the comments right here, because I do want to start going through them and just switch back to my core Bitcoin analysis right here very quickly, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. But that's pretty much it. I mean, this to me, it does, I mean, you know, when you look at it on this kind of time frame, on this scale, let's actually move back to the Bitstamp chart where I don't have any drawings. Actually, I have this box now, but that's fine. You know, on this kind of scale, what it really looks like to me is just another correction. It's very hard for me to get away from that. So until and unless Bitcoin breaks this level, I will be looking at potentially seeing another resistance hit. I just think it's super likely. I'm not going to trade it. I think it's too risky. I don't have to trade everything I see. That would be stupid. But I certainly am going to be cautious about this. You know, being cautious really, really does pay quite well in these kind of markets. So I think that's absolutely essential. If we do break above, like I said, we do still have resistance up ahead. We have resistance all the way up, because that's what happens when we drop down from all-time highs. But I don't think that the resistance is heavy. I do think that this resistance is heavy. So if we're able to break the heavy area of resistance, then I think we'll actually rise up a little bit higher. And since I know that there's a lot of new viewers to this channel, I want to give you one of my classic terrible analogies. This is like where you've got a truck I'm going to give you an analogy of momentum right now, because I think that Bitcoin would be able to gather a lot of momentum if the market did end up trading up towards $60,000, because it would have broken the resistance at 54 to 57. That would be a very heavy area of resistance. And so what you've got right here is it's like there's a truck right here, and there's a car in the middle of a highway, and this is a big car. It's a G-Wagon. It's a heavy car. And the truck is moving towards it, and it's smashing the car right out of the way, and then in front of it right here is a bicycle, right? That's how I see this. You know, I see the car as being as being the heavy resistance between 54 to 57. Over here, I see the bicycle as being the weak resistance. And the idea is, if the truck is moving down the highway, and if it can push the car out of the way because it has so much momentum, then it can probably push a bicycle out of the way. And that's the way that I like to visualize these kind of resistance areas. I find that it's extremely reliable. I find that it works quite often, and that is actually one of the key things that VIP members are able to watch me implement in my trading style, because what you get as a VIP member is the full access into every single trade that I make. I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing, where I'm entering, where I'm putting my stop loss, where I'm putting my targets, and so on. I'm giving you all the updates on those positions, and most of those positions, they're planned out well in advance. The last couple of trades, they haven't been planned out as far in advance as I'd like, but usually they are planned out, you know, days, if not even a week or two in advance. That's quite rare, but almost always at least 1 or 2 days in advance that I'd be planning my trades, because I'm not a super regular trader. You know, I don't trade 24 times a day or anything crazy like that. Maybe only a couple of times a week max, and I found that puts me at a very good success rate. It means that my wins stretch out very nicely and my losses are cut very tight, which is obviously exactly what you want to go for. It's a very clinical approach to trading, and in a market like this where it's so fertile, it's so easy to make money. In a market like this, if you're putting yourself in a position where you're not maximizing the potential here, or where you're actually losing money, you are on a very, very bad footing here. Especially, you know, the small amounts, losing 5%, whatever, that's fine. But if you're losing anything over kind of 10-15% of your portfolio in a market like this, I can't convey how much of a screw up that'd be. I know this because I've been there. I've been in a bull market where I've lost Bitcoin, and I thought to myself, if I had just held my Bitcoin, I would have been richer. And a lot of traders do end up that way. So it's very much an extreme game. You know, if you win, you win big. If you lose big. And if that sounds appealing to you, because if you know that if Bitcoin hits, for example, $300,000, you're still not going to be as rich as you want to be, which is most people, because it's not actually a big move. From here, it would be a 5 times return. Actually, it would be a 6 times return from here. You know, if you've got $20,000, making a 6 times return on that is only going to put you at 120K. I know that that's good money, but that's not necessarily life-changing money. You can't buy a house with that. You can buy a few luxuries, pay off a little bit of debt, but you're not actually buying much financial security for yourself at that kind of stage. That's where the trading comes in my opinion. This is something that I've been working on for a very, very long time, and VIP members are able to see exactly how I'm trading in real time with all of the information from our trades. This is one of the members who I keep on talking about. I found this testimonial, I've dug it up from January, because we've had so many since January, so this one kind of got lost here, but this person joined us in March of last year. That's 13 months ago this person joined us. And in January, which was 10 months later, this person managed to turn $30,000 into $1 million, which was very, very impressive. And that was 3-4 months ago. So Bitcoin now is significantly higher. I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually 2 million or 1.5 million, which is very, very impressive. You can see right here, it's actually difficult to read, but about 1.8 BTC profit there, 52 Ethereum profit right there. Huge, huge gains. Officially a millionaire, my friend. Thank you very much. And the coolest thing about this guy is he took our yearly offer when he was completely new to trading. You know, he had never traded before, and he didn't know anything about it. He didn't know the concept. So what he did was he took our yearly package, which gives him full access to our advanced academy. That is over 10 hours of content right from A all the way up to Z and beyond, giving you all the information that I know about trading, all my strategies, my style of analysis, how I carry it out, teaching all the concepts. And then he was able to watch me implement that as well. So doing extremely, extremely well. We've got another member over here who used to trade very excitedly, and it wasn't doing him justice, and then he ended up trading a lot less, which is the style that I preach as well, because it's also worth having a good work-life balance as well. And he's been doing extremely, extremely well since he joined VIP. You know, very happy with a modest profit, and that is absolutely beautiful. You know, these profits, they compound. 10% is great. You know, this person pulled a 33 times gain. That's also great. you know, you need everything in between, and that's where VIP members have been able to really shine. So the information is on screen right now. If you do want to join, it's absolutely popping off, and we are at the time of me live streaming over 1,100 members. So a lot of people taking that up, and if you want to get in on it, we are running a small discount right there where you can get in on some of the action. So I am ready to start going through your questions. Thank you all for dropping them down here. What is the target if we go down again? Good question, Ivan. The new target if we go down again for me will actually be a little bit less aggressive. If we go down again, and the reason for that is because the weekly 21-week moving average, that's actually come up now. Previously it was about 42, now it's about $43,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin were able to bounce off 43 if we went down again. Again, don't know if we will, but if we did, I certainly think that it would be possible for Bitcoin to start bouncing off those kind of levels. And so I wouldn't be as aggressive on the downside if we did start trading downwards again, just because we did get this bounce. And like I said, that to me shows that the market has a lot of strength. It shows me that it's fighting, and it shows me that it has fight left in it. And that is very impressive. Bearish divergence on 30 minutes. I wouldn't care about that too much because it's quite a small time frame. Agree with you too. Many people follow the crowd saying we're going to the moon. This is a BS situation. 21-week moving average is needed. Absolutely. It's seen as necessary by many people in the market, and I completely agree. What happens to Bitcoin in a recession? That's a very good question. My answer is not gonna make you guys happy. See, the thing is, in a recession, people are losing money and people are feeling pretty bad about themselves. And that means that they are starting to play more defensive. And Bitcoin, because it fluctuates massively, is seen as a very risky investment. Bitcoin is seen as an investment that is dangerous, is not super safe, you know, where you speculate, where you want to turn small amounts into big amounts. And people are not really open to that kind of risk appetite, generally speaking, in a recession. Not the poor people, not the rich people, not the middle class people. Nobody wants to take that kind of risk in a recession because everyone is losing money. There are very few winners that come out of a recession. That's very important to keep in mind, in my opinion. And so when we are in a market like that, I'm seeing your inquiries about VIP coming in. By the way, my assistant is right here on the ball right now, hitting back to you guys within the same second, which is very impressive. So if you want to get access to that discount, the steps are on screen right here. It'll take you less than 30 seconds. But if we are entering a recession, I think that's going to make a lot of people feel very defensive. And, you know, this is where people are prioritizing purchasing bread and milk, for example. You know, no one's caring about Bitcoin. No one's caring about, you know, expensive watches or whatever. People want necessities, and Bitcoin is not one of them for most people. So that's my take on a recession. I wish I could give you something more optimistic. Hopefully I'm wrong, but you know, I think this absolutely is something that that a lot of people would kind of gloss over, and they would say that in a recession Bitcoin would blow up. My take is that in a recession people will not want to spend their money. Let's see what else we have here. What about altcoins when Bitcoin goes further downwards? Well, if Bitcoin goes further downwards, because we don't know if it's guaranteed, but if Bitcoin goes further downwards, I think that altcoins will plummet even more. We've already seen that. A lot of the coins, if Bitcoin dropped 20%, altcoins drop 30%, 35%. And that happens because people have less confidence in altcoins than they do in Bitcoin. The reasons why are they're just smaller markets, they're speculative, they're newer, they're unproven, and so on. You know, so when people are feeling very open to taking risk, they're feeling very risk friendly, they will trade in altcoins. If Bitcoin is dropping, people will feel more defensive, people will feel more scared, more fearful, more uncertain, more doubtful, and that is going to make people not generally want to take on more risky investments, which is why altcoins typically tend to do pretty badly from that point. FORFLIES, thanks for your sober analysis as always. You're very welcome. I'm glad you like it. It's my absolute pleasure. If you are enjoying this so far, then please do smash up the likes. Thank you all so far, by the way. We're up to 637 likes. The channel is just blowing up. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, I have to keep on thanking you guys for 80,000 subscribers. It's going very quick. It's absolutely amazing. We're already nearly at 80,200, which is so cool. So we're well on our way to 100,000. I promise you guys a very cool kind of, how do I say, gift or thank you video for 75,000. We actually just flew straight past 75,000, but that video is done. And so I'm just waiting for a dead day in the market, a quiet day in the market, because you guys want analysis more than you want this video. This video is just cool for beginners. Those of you who are regulars to this channel, I'm also going to be releasing a couple of cool VIP exclusive videos that are specific to trading, which I think you guys will really enjoy. But this one is more for a beginner kind of video, and I'm literally just going to publish it when the market is a little bit more quiet so that you can continue to get this analysis when you really want it. So that's quite important. Would I wait before buying in on spot trades? I don't trade spot ever. FORFLIES, we're seeing 15-minute and 1-hour bearish divergence. I don't care about them. It's too short of a time frame. FORFLIES, thank you. Profited from learning from you this last few months. Amazing, Jonah. Welcome to the channel and congratulations on those profits. Guys, if you've profited from this channel, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're willing to the details, not necessarily the dollar amounts, but the percentage amounts. I'd be very, very curious to know how it's gone for you. That would be very, very cool. What do I think about hash ribbons? Never heard of it. Thanks for the analysis, as always. A little unrelated, but do I think about using fractals as an indicator? A little bit, Jamie. So the thing about fractals is, for those of you who don't know, fractals are like showing that we have similar shapes repeating in the market. Where I think fractals are important is in just identifying the patterns that the market likes to repeat. So sometimes the market really likes to repeat certain patterns, which, you know, in this case, this is not technically a fractal, but it almost qualifies. You know, it would be forming rising wedges. You know, if you notice that Bitcoin really likes to form these in downtrends, it becomes very predictable. We've had 3 in a row right here, so I was able to predict this with relative ease, that we might be in another rising wedge. And granted, we weren't. We were actually in a triangle, but it looked like a rising wedge at first. And that made me a little bit bearish on the market. You know, and the next one was very clearly a rising wedge. Look at this one. This was quite clearly a rising wedge before the market dipped down. Again, this one looked like a rising wedge until we didn't set this high. But in any case, it's very clear that the market likes to repeat certain characteristics, and for that reason, fractals are, in my opinion, fairly useful. But I don't think that they're the best, because they are quite a subjective way to carry out analysis, and that means there's a lot of room to do it incorrectly. Which edition of TradingView should I buy? All of them are great. You have to decide what you prefer the most. What first, Ethereum? Ethereum hitting 3K or Bitcoin hitting 44? Probably, I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Do I take any stock in the TD sequential? No, but I do in the MRI indicator, and I will look at that a little bit later on in this live stream if you guys are going to request me to take a look at that. I think that would be very cool. But it's very, very technical, so I don't want to go into that if it would confuse a lot of people. My glasses are like an upward trend line. That's because the market is doing absolutely great. So that's why that's why the glasses are slanted and will stay slanted. Would I agree that Bitcoin has been manipulated? Of course, it's always manipulated. Which academy is better? Well, we got 2. We've got our regular trading academy, which is still very, very comprehensive for most people. And I really, really do mean most people, because as you guys know from this analysis, I don't actually do very advanced things. So the advanced concepts are more so psychological in the advanced course. I'm not actually teaching you advanced indicators because I don't use them. And so the regular academy is absolutely great for learning how to analyze in a very comprehensive way, because my analysis is very simple, but I do the simple stuff really well, in my opinion. You know, you might think differently, and that's great, but in my opinion, I do it quite comprehensively, and I do only the basics. You know, like this whole time I've been talking about a moving average. Very beginning I glossed over Ichimoku, EMA ribbons, but those are the only advanced indicators I use, and the rest of it is boxes and lines. That's how basic my analysis is, and what I teach in that course is how I do it very clinically, and that is absolutely crucial. And of course, the advanced course, it takes it to a whole other level. It's literally priced much higher, but of course it comes for free with certain VIP packages, which you can find out about on screen. Like I said, my assistant has been replying to you guys right here. So if you are curious to get the information on it, then follow these steps on screen. And the Advanced Academy mainly touches more on psychological points, which are absolutely crucial. And you know, just knowing these things, if I had known them before, would have saved me a lot of money. Do I like Binance to trade futures? No, I don't. I don't actually like Binance. The exchange that I use to trade futures is, actually I don't trade futures. I trade regular leverage products, so inverse perpetual. I do prefer to use BuyBit right here on screen. I've got my link in the description for you to sign up to it, where you're going to get a free trading bonus. So when you sign up to that link in the description, with that link in the description, you're going to get some free money to trade with, where you can actually withdraw the profits that you make on that. So you get that money completely free of charge. You can trade with it. If you make profit on it, you can take that money out, which is very, very cool. And it's actually quite useful, because if you're new to these kind of platforms, you can use that free money to actually understand how the platform works. You can literally deposit money, take it out, just trade with the free money, and that is very, very cool. It's almost like having a real demo account, which I think is extremely impressive. So if you are interested in BuyBit, then the link is in the description down below. There is also a tutorial for BuyBit, which is also linked in the description below. So you can just pause the live stream here, go through that stuff. It's going to take you less than 30 seconds to sign up. There's no KYC required to get started on this exchange. I've been with them for years, and I love them. If you are in the United States, Canada, and so on, certain territories, you will need a VPN to access this website. I can't endorse that, but in practice, it's completely fine. I've never heard of an issue ever in all my time being a YouTuber, where I've spoken to 80,000 people. No one's ever told me that they had an issue with that kind of thing. So VPN necessary, but certainly never been a flaw in my experience. In fact, I've done that. Although it doesn't matter for me because I'm not a US citizen, so I wouldn't care. So yeah, that's the exchange I like to use. I absolutely love them. What are the... Am I the brains of my organization or just its face? Both? I don't know. There's other people behind, but I'm kind of the main guy. What is the level where I would call the end of the macro bull cycle? I would not call the end of the macro bull cycle because I would get it wrong. I've tried that and I know I would get it wrong, and I'm not going to bother. I'm going to refresh you guys on my take. This is a very important point for this live stream, and especially on that trading note. So I'm going to blow up the camera again, and I really want to hit this point home. I certainly think we can rise higher in this bull market. I think we can set new all-time highs. I don't know if the bull market is going to end ever. I don't know if it's going to end at 60K, 70, 80, 200, 500, 10 million. I don't know where it's going to end. And I know that I'm going to get it wrong if I try to predict it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to aim to make as much Bitcoin as possible while it's rallying. Whether up or down, I'm going to be making profits. That's how I always do it. That's how VIP members see it as well. I'm going to aim to make as much Bitcoin as possible. And when Bitcoin continues to rise upwards, I'm going to be making more dollars because of that. So I've accumulated more. Like I said, I had 2 Bitcoins last month. Now I have 3 Bitcoins, and Bitcoin's at 100,000. That's going to put me in a pretty good place to profit quite well. Why am I out of focus? Hello? Okay, there we go. So that's what I'm looking for in this market. And so I would make a lot of money that way, hopefully, if it goes to plan. So far it is. I would make a lot of money that way. And when things crash, I'm not going to expect it. I'm going to get caught by surprise, same as you, because it's very difficult to predict those tops, and I'm going to lose a lot of money. So I might start with $1,000. I might be at $25,000 by the end of the bull market. And when the bull market crashes and I'm in disbelief and I don't believe it, and then I finally start seeing logic, my 25K might be down to 15K, for example, which is a pretty big drop. 25K down to 15K is a pretty big drop, but it's better than having 1K. That's still a 15 times return. Yes, I didn't have a 25 times return, but I had a 15 times return. So obviously you're going to feel a little bit sour about it. Oh, I had 25, now I have 15 and so on. You're going to feel a little bit shit about it, but for the most part, your financials, your financial situation will be much, much better. So I fully accepted and conceded that just like last time, I'm going to screw it up. I'm not going to be able to predict it correctly, and that's completely fine, because I'm going to make, hopefully, so much money to the point where it doesn't matter. And when the big crash happens, I am going to lose money, but I'll still be way ahead of where I started. It's a very realistic approach to trading, and it involves having an exit plan. I don't necessarily intend on exiting the market, but I would certainly take most of my money out of Bitcoin into USD, into GBP or whatever, and then put it back into Bitcoin when I think Bitcoin's at a good buy level and so on, because I would expect maybe multiple more bull cycles for decades, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But that's kind of my take. I would never try and call the top. What I would try and do is exit with a very, very big profit, and accept that it's going to be painful at the end. But I've just had a 15 times return with this analogy. Like, who cares? I'm having a little bit of pain. Oh my god, only 15 times, right? It's not a big deal. 10K turns into 150K and so on. 100K turns into 1.5 million as opposed to 2.5 million. Yeah, I know it's bad, but you started off with 100K. It's not actually that bad. And then hopefully the numbers are actually much more impressive than that. So that's my take on calling an end to the bull market. I think it's an extremely unproductive task. It's very, very difficult. That's super difficult to predict. Weekly and monthly is bearish. I'm not so sure about that. I think the weekly certainly did look bad. But I don't think the monthly is too bad, to be honest. FORFLIES, is this a valid ascending wedge on the 15-minute time frame? Yeah, you don't need to zoom into 15 minutes. This is potentially a sign that the market might break up. It usually is a sign that Bitcoin will break up. In conventional markets, it's actually usually a sign that Bitcoin will break down. But I don't want to comment too much on that because we're right at the resistance level. So there's no reason to speculate because we're going to find out very soon anyway. And I'm not trading it, so it doesn't really matter to me. Obviously, I think a rejection is more likely because we're in a downtrend, but I wouldn't put money behind that. You know, I just don't think it's safe enough to really commit to one idea yet. Let's see what other questions we have. If I have missed your question so far, please write it again in the comment section because there's a lot and I want to make sure that I answer every single question right here in this live stream. What makes me think that Ethereum can push through resistance if I'm expecting Bitcoin to fall? The entire crypto market seems very connected to Bitcoin currently. Good question, Krusty Koala. Well, the reason is that Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin. Even when Bitcoin was dropping, Ethereum has done better for the most part. We can see that quite clearly right here on the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 day time frame, it's even clearer. We've actually risen above the prior high that Ethereum set at the beginning of January. Ethereum has demonstrated immense strength against Bitcoin. This shouldn't take anyone here by surprise. I was talking about this for a very, very long time. I was saying it while Ethereum was down here, that I was still expecting Ethereum to rise above our yearly highs, which is exactly what it did. No surprises here, working exactly as I predicted right there. And you know, I think that Ethereum is going to continue to outperform Bitcoin because that's exactly what happened in the last big bull market, which we can see some evidence of right here. So I'm not saying that Ethereum is going to rise back up to those levels because that would put Ethereum at, actually, that's very doable. That's Ethereum being up here would mean $7,500 for Ethereum, which I think is not crazy. I think Ethereum can hit like 7.5K for sure. I think that's super doable. But in any case, it's at highs that Ethereum has not seen for, you know, nearly 3 years, and that to me is definitely a show of strength. And I certainly think that Ethereum is going to continue to outperform Bitcoin over the next little bit. It certainly is going to be difficult and it's not guaranteed, but I think it's very, very doable, you know, considering the place that Ethereum has in this market on a fundamental level. My input on funding rates. Good question. Thank you very much, Anjana. I hope I got your name right. Let's take a look at funding rates on the daily time frame. I did say I was going to do that, and I'm very curious to see where they are because I haven't actually seen the funding rates yet. So funding rates are back positive. They haven't actually went negative at all, which was an indication that I said we might end up dropping lower, which happened. So that prediction worked out quite well as well. Once again, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you're missing out on a lot of really, really good analysis here. So make sure that you do subscribe. You might be watching these videos regularly, but if you're not actually subscribed, you're not going to be watching all of them. And that can, you know, just missing one video could potentially cost you a lot, could even cost you opportunities, and that might be worse. So well worth hitting that up to make sure that you're able to watch more. And the first link in the description is going to take you to our free Telegram channel where I'm giving you more alerts on when these videos go up, and I'm giving you more free analysis. So if you like this, you're going to get even more analysis around the clock in this free Telegram channel right here. And if you're a trader and you don't have Telegram, it's like, I don't know, I gave you a bad analogy the other day. It's like owning a Ferrari but not being in a Ferrari club. It doesn't make sense. You know, like you need to be in a place where everything is popping off at a time like this. It's going to give you an extra edge on the market, and Telegram has always been the big community for Bitcoin and crypto for, you know, like 4 years now. Funding rates did not go negative. They're not as high as I thought they would be either. To me, to be honest, this looks mostly neutral. It would have been better if we went negative, but we're not. So people in long positions are still paying to keep their positions open, although not nearly as much as they were paying before. So that's good. I don't have much else to say other than that, unfortunately. You know, this is funny. A lot of people think that I'm a very bearish analyst, but I'm literally saying that I think we're going to go to levels like $80,000, $100,000. People still think I'm bearish, and it's just because I'm not saying that we're going to hit $1 million. And that's not bearish, in my opinion. That's just realistic. You know, I'm saying that that I think Bitcoin is still in a downtrend. I think that we haven't broken the key levels. And if you zoom out and you look at this, it's so damn clear that this market has been trending downwards for a while, right? Let me actually measure this up to today. Bitcoin's been trending down for nearly 2 weeks. That's a long time in this kind of market cycle. And it's just had a little pump up now. Like, it's still super possible that this is a continuation pattern, a correction within a downtrend where it's going to continue to trend low. It's so possible. We just can't rule it out until Bitcoin has cleared these key areas of resistance. If you haven't heard me talking about this yet, then go ahead and rewind this live stream to make sure that you do catch that, because that information, in my opinion, is extremely, extremely important. Someone's asking, where do I live? That view is amazing. Well, this office is in the Burj Khalifa, and we have a view of downtown Dubai with the beautiful, beautiful fountains behind us. Let's see what other questions we have right here in the live stream. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. Thanks for all the likes. We're up to 750. Absolutely amazing. Really do appreciate your support. Let's get it up to 1,000 real quick. I know that's super doable. Let's see what other questions we have right here in the live chat. Any other questions? Any other trading related inquiries? Would the pump be predictable with a look at the Ichimoku on the daily chart? Oh, that's a good take. That's something I didn't look at. I did mention that this could offer support. I did not expect it to offer support this well. But apparently one of my favorite indicators is performing better than I thought it would, which is always cool. Yeah, absolutely. This could be what triggers the next run up. I mean, it's happened many, many, many times before, many times. And I got to show you how this worked in 2017 as well. I don't know how many of you guys have been around since 2017. Let me know in the live chat, because I'd be curious to know. But you know, these bounces off the Ichimoku cloud, it really looked like Bitcoin would never recover, but it did. It looked like Bitcoin was going to drop way lower every time we came to the bottom of these Ichimoku clouds, but this is what actually saved Bitcoin. This is not what saved Bitcoin, but if you were analyzing the Ichimoku clouds, this would have certainly helped you be prepared for a little bit of a bounce, and I think that's extremely cool. I think that makes a lot of sense. So this indicator has been reliable 4 years ago. It's still reliable right now, and if you want to watch my video where I show you exactly how you can use this indicator, then you can type this into the YouTube search bar right now. Pause this live stream and type this into the search bar, and you can watch my tutorial on how to get this indicator and how to use it and so on. This video, along with my EMA video, along with my VPVR video, these are all videos that are part of the exclusive FORFLIES Academy courses. You're getting them for free on YouTube. So if you want a taster of what it's like to be in the course, the Ichimoku video is actually quite old, a little bit embarrassing. Quite embarrassing, actually. That's not what the course is like. The content is good. I just sounded a lot younger back then, because that was 3 years ago. If I were to marry Kendall Jenner, would I dance with both of her moms at the wedding? I'm not a dancer at all, actually, so no, I wouldn't dance with anybody. But yeah, Ichimoku there looking absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, I don't know. I mean, if we broke this area of resistance, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with saying that we're going to hit all-time highs. Someone's asking me the percent of times I'm wrong in my trades. It's quite low. I don't actually have the number off the top of my head, but it's like the success rate is certainly higher than 70-80%. I'd have to check that though. But the reason for that, and it doesn't mean that I'm making 70-80% good trades. It means that I'm making trades where I close profits. That's what's important. Like a lot of the time, VIP members will see how I'm not, like I would be in a trade that actually ends up being a bad, not a lot of the time, but it happens more often than you think. I'd be in a trade that's actually not a great idea, but I would close it out in a profit. So I'd walk away from a burning house with, you know, being completely unscathed and in a profit. And that is one of the reasons that the success rate is so high that I have inside of the VIP group. And that's why VIP members tend to do so well as well. This guy, once again, like I said, turning into a millionaire inside of the VIP group, just so cool. This is certainly one of the most impressive members we've had inside of the group. We've now got over 1,100 members. So if you do want to get in on it, join this guy's path to amazingness, then you can definitely do that by following these steps on screen. And the thing is, you know, VIP members will see this where, you know, a lot of people, they'll be in a bad trade, but they'll just let it go worse and worse and worse and worse. And for me, I'll close profits really quickly. I'm very good with risk management, in my opinion, and I'll also make sure that, you know, a position that's in a profit can very rarely ever lose me money, and that's extremely important to keep in mind. So, you know, to give you an example, I was, in hindsight, wrong about going long on Bitcoin up here, up to $65,000. Yet I went long around this level, no, probably a little bit higher. I went long around this level, and I closed a bunch of my short position over here. Not a bunch, but I closed a little bit of my long position up here. So I sold some Bitcoin up here, sold some more around here, and the rest was stopped out at break even, or a little bit higher than break even. You know, so I still closed a profit on a trade where actually shortly afterwards, Bitcoin shit the bed. You know, obviously going long right here wasn't an amazing idea. It was still a 50% profit up here, so that was cool, but it wasn't an amazing idea because the market dumped. but I didn't suffer a loss from that, which is one of the key reasons that that the success rate is so high. And that's what, you know, because what I'm doing there effectively is I'm putting a roadblock in front of losses. Losses I cannot reach the point of losing money because I'm immediately cutting off that possibility like as quickly as I can. And that's absolutely essential in my opinion. Christopher Ward mentioning a beautiful moon in the UK. Yeah, the moon's been beautiful lately. Obviously seeing it out here in Dubai, very, very cool. It's like a blood moon if you're up until like 3, 4 a.m. Very, very cool. Someone wants me to make more videos, 5 videos a day. That would be challenging, but I was doing 2 videos for quite a while. I'll probably go back to that in a little bit as well. Let's see what else we have in the live chat as far as your questions go. Thank you all for dropping them right here in the comments. I'm sorry if I am missing them. There are a lot, but I'm doing my absolute best. Yeah, FORFLIES streaming from the tallest tower in the world. No big deal. I do say it like it's nothing, but we are in the Burj Khalifa where I'm filming this live stream, where this office is located. The HQ for these FORFLIES operations. And it is the tallest building in the world. It's a big flex, and I absolutely love that. I would be scared of heights living there. Well, fortunately, this office is very low. So it's, I mean, you can tell I'm not actually that high. If the bull market is over, will I sell all of my Bitcoin? Maybe not all, just in case I'm wrong, but I would sell a lot, maybe like 80%. Oh wow, Christian, and I gotta highlight this person's comment just because he's being so nice. Someone saying, hey everyone, if anyone saw my Moonboy comment earlier and was offended or it triggered you, I apologize. I didn't mean it in a negative way. I was just having some fun. You're very, very compassionate, Christian. I had to highlight that because not many people can apologize for things that they regret, even though there's no reason to regret. There's no reason to apologize for that, in my opinion. The fact that you still did was very cool. This channel makes life a little easier as a trader. Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm going for. You know, I am a full-time trader, as if that's an impressive title, and I spend most of my time riding around in supercars out here in Dubai, having fun with cool people. You know, I do not live, you know, 6 monitors on my laptop continuously, phone calls all day. I'm not like that. Trading is not like that. Good traders are not like that. This guy right here, 27 Bitcoins. What is that now? Actually, let me calculate that real quick. 27 Bitcoin right now is absolutely amazing. Assuming he didn't touch his portfolio. 27 times where we're at right now, like 54,000. 54,000 times 27. That's 1.5 million. Yeah, assuming he didn't grow it anymore. This person who turned 30k into 1 million in 10 months in VIP with his yearly package, he runs 6 businesses internationally. Europe, America, Asia, everything. And I can't reveal too much about him because obviously privacy is important, like it is for all VIP members. That's why we block out all the identifiable information. But this person is busy. This person runs a lot. Not only is he busy, he's got mental capacity being taken up as well, which is probably the bigger cost. And this goes as further proof. I'm living proof of it. This guy is as well. You know, like you don't need to be watching the markets 24/7 to make money. In fact, you'll make a lot more most of the time if you trade a lot less. I wish more people understood it. Well, actually, I don't wish. I wish you guys understood it. The rest of the people I don't really care about because that's who we make money off. I'm assuming you're from the UK as well. Since BuyBit in the UK is not allowed and we use a VPN, how do I declare tax? That's a question for your tax representative, Charles. I can't answer that. I am from the UK, but I live in Dubai, so I couldn't care less. But everyone I know in the UK is still using BuyBit. If you're interested in signing up to BuyBit, regardless of where you are in the world, but not in the UK because UK people are not allowed to use it. It depends on how seriously you take that. I know everyone's just using a VPN now. There's no issue. You'll be able to find my referral link in the description. That's going to give you some free cash as well. Do I think this is a fake out kind of pump? Look, it's certainly possible. Certainly possible. I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's see what else we have here in the comments. Any other questions? BTC above the 4-hour EMA ribbon, no importance on that. I did mention that earlier on in the live stream, Ash, so please rewind and you'll be able to see that. Shout out to Andrija. I actually made profit in this bearish run. Congratulations. Started in April. Keep up the good work. Well, very, very good work there. That is absolutely great. Yeah, very, very cool to see those profits. This guy, you know, turning around his trading in much more sensible ways in a cheeky little 10%. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's still something that you can compound. And more importantly, this person's turning bad principles of trading into good ones, and already looking to, you know, resubscribe into VIP because he's done so well. You know, a lot of the time people will see that they're not running on, you know, crazy cocaine type thrills when they join VIP, but things are so much more sustainable and healthy, and you already know that that's exactly what's realistic. It's just a case of how soon do you accept that, and the sooner you do, the better you will perform. So that's what I aim to show you among many, many other things inside of the VIP group, and we are running a discount following these steps right now, so you can get yourself a good deal on VIP with our courses coming for free as well if you are interested in that. Thanks a ton for your time. Why do I not spot trade altcoins? Huge and safer gains can be made. I don't think that they're safer because altcoins have extreme risk. You know, like a minus 35% correction is kind of standard. Someone mentioned withdrawal limits on BuyBit if you don't KYC. Yeah, there are withdrawal limits, but I can't remember what they are, but they're super high. You know, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like $50,000 a day. Most people don't need to care about that. I might be wrong. I can't remember. Does the Ichimoku cloud work on Ethereum? Not as well, in my opinion. Do I use standard Ichimoku settings? No, I covered my settings in the video about the Ichimoku. You are so pragmatic. You are the most pragmatic TA in YouTube. Thank you very much, Sheila. I'm glad you like it. Do I switch to stable coins for crashes? No, if I need to, I go straight back into real fiat. I don't use stable coins. What about the death cross on the 50 MA and the 20 MA? You mean the 200? It plays out in a few hours. Well, what time frame are you talking about, Marcus, for that death cross? And just confirm you mean 50 and 20, and I'll take a look at it. And when I open a short, if Bitcoin goes down, I'm not sure. Maybe below 47, but it's not. It's very tight. Let's see what other questions we have here. I will be looking to get going soon, so I'm going to take a couple final questions and then head off. I've covered the core analysis for myself, so if you are tuning in right now, please do go back and start this live stream from the beginning where I covered all of that analysis. Someone's asking me what funding rates are. That's essentially the fee that most exchanges will charge you to keep your position open. That's the basic idea of it. Do I know what data the Ichimoku is based on? I couldn't tell you the technicals, man, but it's quite obvious to be able to predict what it's drawing data from. I'll give you an example. Right here, Bitcoin struggled to break above, say, 56,000. So that's exactly where the Ichimoku red line is. It's wherever we struggled to break levels in the past, it'll become resistance. Wherever we were able to rise very nicely, like in this general area, it becomes support. That's... You can, the more you use it, the more you start to understand how the Ichimoku cloud forms. So actually, it's gotten to the point for me, because I've been using it for 4 years, nearly 4 years. It's gotten to the point for me where I can literally predict where the cloud will be, which is very impressive. It's super cool. I feel like a genius when I do that. Do I recommend using bots? I never make recommendations. With bots in particular, I really don't like bots, because the issue with them is that they might actually work quite well in the beginning, but later on they will work absolutely terribly most of the time. And that's because they whatever works will immediately just stop working cold turkey at some point, and it will really, really screw you over, which is absolutely not a good place. Thoughts on the ADA event? No thoughts, unfortunately. Please don't spam your comments. When do I think we retest 45K? I don't know if we will. Hopefully we do, but I don't know. Your answer to my question got you another subscriber. Well, welcome to the family, Wesley. I'm glad that I was able to help you out. BuyBit has huge fees. If you trade with $100 and make 30%, you end up with less. That's not true. I don't know where you got that number from. BuyBit's fees are almost exactly the same as the industry average. They're just way more reliable than the industry average. Where does the name FORFLIES come from? Stupid story. I don't want to go into it in this live stream. I made that name when I was 14. So yeah, Fox in the comments clearing up that in the UK using BuyBit is legal. It's just that BuyBit cannot legally offer it to you. It's still available. and citizens are allowed to use it, that's not banned. I'm a real one as always. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, man. Will I go all in after 57? I mean, I'm already as all in as I'll be for Bitcoin. Above 57, I would start taking long positions, if that answers your questions. Do I trade stocks too, or only crypto? Very rarely I trade stocks. Very, very rarely. What do I pay for tax in Dubai? 0. Very nice number. I got that from Crypto. I was sitting with Crypto. First time I met him, I didn't even know who he was. I hope he's not watching this live stream right now. And that first time was about 4 or 5 months ago. I didn't know who he was. I just knew he was a YouTuber, never saw him, never watched him, whatever. Didn't care. And we were talking about taxes, and he was like, my favorite number to pay for taxes is 0. And I found that hilarious. And then I joined the live too, which was very cool. Someone's asking a very good question. I see that you promote BuyBit and Phemex. If I had to boil it down, which of the two do I prefer and why? So I don't necessarily prefer one over the other, but I have both because, and they're both linked in the description, because you need backups as an exchange, right? So I know this because I've been trading for a long time and I've suffered consequences of not having a backup, right? We all remember, no, many of us will remember the Bitmex days, right? Bitmex overload. If you remember Bitmex overload, just type it in the comments in caps, because I'm curious to see that in the live chat. How many of you actually remember the Bitmex overload issues? They were really, really funny. And I didn't have backups back then. Those issues still happen to this day, right? They happen less frequently, but they will happen to BuyBit and Phemex and Binance. And so Binance is terrible with reliability. So when that kind of thing happens, if you don't have a backup, it literally just demonstrates that you haven't secured yourself enough. And in this case, it's about securing your money. And if you're not securing your money, it means you don't respect your money. And it's a complete no-go in my opinion. So having multiple exchanges just as backups is extremely critical in my opinion, and you got to find good ones. So I like Phemex, I like BuyBit, I even have Prime XBT down there as well. They're all great in my opinion. Yeah, you guys remember it. So I mean, there you go. I mean, it was so common, and if you didn't have a backup, you would have been so screwed over. You would have lost money in hacks. You would have lost money on bad system overload issues. It still happens to this day, right? It's just much rarer. So if you don't actually protect yourself from that kind of thing, you're really putting yourself in a bad spot. Someone mentioned BuyBit only has 9 coins to trade, Wesley. They don't have a huge selection compared to Phemex, for example, but they're adding a lot more, and they have told me about it. What's my thoughts on Binance as a platform? I don't seem too positive. No, I don't like Binance. I've had serious big issues with them, which I don't want to go into, but they were really, really big issues, and they didn't take any responsibility for it. I mean, how could I expect them to? They're, like the biggest company in crypto. So they feel untouchable, but that's just completely disrespectful in my opinion. They're just, I've seen how they operate. I've seen how they still operate. They haven't changed a bit. So I have zero respect for them. Do you know what? Like, I think they're cool. They're obviously a good exchange, but I don't like them too much. Starting crypto with a 10K portfolio, would I simply go all in on Bitcoin or diversify with Ethereum, for example? Well, my plan, if I had 10K, wouldn't change if I had $1 million or 10 million or $100. I would still do exactly the same thing, which is primarily margin trade Bitcoin, because that's the fastest way to turn a small amount into a large amount. And I would put a little bit into Ethereum as well, probably like, I don't know, 10-20%, as I have right now. I don't have anything close to 10%. Most of it is in Bitcoin. Am I planning a trade? I have a few planned. Haven't revealed any details even to VIPs yet, because they're not really even my consideration phase. You guys already know that, I'd start looking at long positions above 58, start looking at shorts maybe below 47, but for that point I'm not really particularly interested. The thing is that the market changes very quickly, right? So when you join the VIP group where you can see how I'm trading, you're first going to be hit with a welcome video and a bunch of other things to do to clean up your trading and really put yourself in a better position to really strive in these markets. And that will keep you busy for a few days until, most likely when I would start opening trades. And I think that's very, very important. It gives you time to go through what's important. Bitmex overload was funny only when you didn't have any open order. Yeah, and when you had an open order, it was terrifying. I remember that very, very well. Was BuyBit an MT4 platform? No, I don't think so. What about Bitforex exchange? Haven't heard of it. Will I sell my Bitcoin HODL portfolio? I guess if the market tanks massively, then yeah. Why don't I use stablecoins? Because I don't trust them. All right, guys. I am going to head off relatively soon. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for smashing up the likes towards 900. Let's get that one last pump up to 1,000 likes. I would really, really appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then please do subscribe as well. The analysis has been completely on point. It's been absolutely amazing over this market cycle. So if you'd like to watch more, then please do make sure you hit up that subscribe button. I'm going to be heading off with that. So I really hope you have enjoyed this live stream. I need to get going. Got a little bit of a day ahead as well, so that's going to be cool. Thank you all for hitting up those likes. Really do appreciate you. If you've enjoyed the video at all, you've extracted any value, had a realization, maybe you just found it informative or funny, anything like that, your click really goes a long way for this channel. I've been imploring that you guys do it for a while, and it's worked out so well, and in return I've been super delighted to put out even more content, you know, literally doubling my upload schedule as well, and I will continue to do that as well. So it's my absolute pleasure seeing the support that you guys are giving. You know, that it really obviously does mean a lot, and that's why I'm happy to double down on the content out here as well. So there you go. Hope you have enjoyed this live stream, and I am going to head off. Thank you all very much. See you all in the